And we're live, coming to you from the land down under. We have Captain Keeley, which is me. Obviously, a few other people have had their streams today. We obviously had Mr. Grizzies, and I believe Mr. What's his name is still streaming. United Spaces Alliance. I'm going to just wait till people hop on in. Somehow the tisms have returned. Yes, they have, SWA. It seems you've changed your profile picture. It's a different version of Mr. General Grievous. Greetings there, Knights of Undercover. How dare you call me such a thing? Alright, well, we got Surge in chat as well. Good to see you, mate. Might as well, while I'm here, pull up John Gets' stream so we can share that tisms when the time is right. Let's go back here. And once a couple more jump in, I'll start doing what I've got. I found quite a few Twitter posts that I found of interest. Up, 6 in chat. I think it's ready to go. So how about we start? Some interesting Twitter posts by a lot of people. Here's one. We'll start with this one. Here we go. This is from Qui-Gon Jenner, and it's this. Star Wars is amazing. It represents hope, overcoming tyranny, and being part of our diverse galaxy that works together. Yes, diversity is our strength. Like Star Wars, fascist sympathizers aren't welcome here, nor is racism, sexism, or homophobia. Well, damn, guess I'm not welcome here. And trans rights are human rights. This is the way. Oh, there's fake fan based. And you just like, what is this kind of take? It's this diverse galaxy thing. It's oh god, these people are they just love to cram anything that's like there. It's particular in like it's always about them, you know. It's always like, look at this. It's it agrees with me because I want it to. These women fans support claim that women should not be allowed Star Wars fandom. Yeah, these just If I hear that saying one more time, I swear I'm gonna. Reminder: this person official U.S. policies now there are two genders. Yeah, Jedi Rifster of the EU. Good to see you, mate. It's always good to have a person in here. I swear I've seen you before. I haven't seen you in my chat, obviously, but I've seen you before, so it's good to see you in here and throwing your chats in. That's always good. But yeah, these people also this whole transgender talk. I have destroyed so many people on Twitter by just stating facts. Transgenderism is just morally reprehensible. If you look up the origin of that kind of stuff, Weimar conditions, stuff like that. But but yeah, I won't go into that. But you can look that up for yourself because all that stuff is not very good. Very bad for people who are mentally ill. Now, here's another one. You may remember this person. Sawyer loves Star Wars. Sawyerism. Here we go. We're presenting this because Sawyerism is retarded, and this is this. I've never seen racism in the Star Wars fandom. You're making things up for attention. All right, Mrs. Piggy. And then it's like someone who literally just said worst characters of all time. And while these characters are really, really terrible, if one of them, like worst of all time, like these two pretty close. The fact that they're all black doesn't really matter. But she's like, oh, look at this. You're making things up. Oh, you're all racist. And then I replied, all these characters objectively suck, right? Yeah, there's Darvish Prime stuff. I should probably give him a follow, why not? And just like, notice how Mace Windu is missing this list from this list. I wonder why. Yeah, because he's a good character. Like, these people just don't understand anything. Gala who loves fake Star Wars. Sawyerism is worse than Mrs. Pig. Yeah, this woman is, oh god. They're all so obnoxious. It's not really racism when he's right. Finn was a waste of potential. Reva had BS with her. It's like, yeah, this is like these are just stock standard opinions, but they're right. These characters are some of the worst of all Star Wars. Like, he's fine to have that opinion if those people are all black. Who cares? Yeah, I love Mace Windu. He's fucking cool. Do I think the acting is great on Samuel's part in some of the scenes he's in? No, but still, he's like, people like him. It's like, what's not to like? But yeah, these people are fucking retards. Ah. Now, let us have a look. All these people are cut from the same shell. They're all so similar. It's like this weird thing. It's like they're all they're like also similar in their takes. It's really weird and it's really uncomfortable. It's like they tout the same thing. It's all, oh god, it's insufferable. Can't think of another actor play Mace Windu. Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement. I just don't know. There are certain lines that I just don't think he does pretty well. I guess it's pretty much. I'd argue it's probably because the whole CGI thing and just like the whole background being CGI doesn't help actors as much. Because Sam's a pretty good actor, but it's like, and this is early for when that stuff was actually being rolled out and like how large it was. So yeah, it's all. I guess that's why he most certainly does. NPCs, yep. Yeah, they all do use the same terminology. I love it when they go objectively, as if they know what that means. Retards, am I right? But yeah, here we go. Now, this one I responded to and got tons of likes for. However, my comment has been blocked because this person is retarded. They blocked my reply from being seen, and I'll show it here. So, Annabelle, CEO of Fern Force, has hidden my reply because she says here, throw bricks at transphobic people with a bunch of kids. I'm guessing it's the action figures, all like done up here or whatever. And it's all. Ugh. And what my original reply was, and this got a fair amount of views, and then my comment got a fair amount of likes. Mine was literally this: telling a person who's mentally ill with gender dysphoria, which is a real mental illness, that they should go ahead and change their gender is like telling a person who wants to off themselves to off themselves. That's not how you respond to a mental illness. But yeah, this person obviously didn't like that, and reply was hidden by the original post author. This person was like, that's what I've been trying to say, thank you, so I reposted that. But yeah, mine is gone. My comment is gone because I said something that like made these people upset because they can't take the clear and obvious point I'm trying to make because they think, oh, you're just being transphobic. Yes, transphobia is good. No society should allow such degeneracy. I know Otho Gorilla agrees with that, but yeah, everyone here should. Disgusting fucking people. Just wait for Theory's new part. of his Vader fan film. Bricks and Screws. Darth Pause is being based in chat once again, but yeah, we'll put the next post up because here we go. So this is when Mr. Donald J. Trumpus was elected, Tisms, and someone goes, "Oh, Crosshair, we really need you today," crying emoji. I responded with normal behavior, because yeah, this is very normal. This is what this is what people should be doing, with their lives. But yeah, this is peak moment right here. They're all so fucking weird. It's like, yeah, people cheering on assassinations. And these are the same people that are like, oh, they should have killed that healthcare CEO or whatever. They're all violent, but they're all pussies as well. So they'll just insinuate it instead of actually downright saying it. They're just retarded. Probably a Destiny fan. Yeah, the shit with Destiny recently has been really fucking funny. It's so absurd. What was he doing? He was posting revenge stuff. Oh god. What a clown. Alright, but I'm going to do stop screen there. Now, what was the other thing? Ah, yes, Dan from Star Wars Centralized. Yeah, and they do weird things with each other. Destiny is authentic. Hell fucking yeah, he is. Here's the next one from Dan from Star Wars Centralized. Vector Prime is better than The Force Awakens, but Han's death is better than Chewie's. What? Okay, this take is retarded. Darth Paul completely agrees with this whole take. I bet you he does, but pretty much anyone with a single brain cell. The Han's death in this movie is a nothing thing. He kind of just dies. There isn't anyone that really reacts to it. You have Ray, but what the fuck? What is she there for? And then Finn, it's just like, and then Ray's like, no, or whatever. She only just met this guy. There's no like connection or anything. It's just stupid. Apparently, yeah, it's a rage bait. Fucking clown. Dan the Ray boy. Yeah, this dude's retarded. He what's more annoying is he knows the EU and he knows like the existence of it, but he just goes ahead and does all this shit. Like, how can you know the EU decently enough and then look at Disney Star Wars and not think it's garbage? I love both of these stories and events. Oh, by the way, yeah, where we go. Then you just got a whole bunch of people responding here. It's just I don't know. These people are just I don't know. They're all insane. It's like what? How do you come to this opinion? Just oh yeah, I did see that. Oh, what's his name? I'd have to have a look. Hold on. Do you know his name, Darth Pause? If you could get that up, because I did see that, but I didn't bother saving it because I wasn't expecting to respond to it today, at least. Ugh. What was the other thing I was looking for? This take from Retney's Holocron, this retard. Wild Parade 24. All right, cheers. Target locked. All right. Oh, God, here we go. let's present to been playing the Lego Clone Wars game. Yeah, that game's actually pretty good, despite it being obviously for the show, of course. But the actual game's pretty fucking enjoyable, and I think they take it in the stride and they have fun. They act silly with it. It's pretty fun. I've completed that before. I have it on the Xbox 360. Yeah, that was it was pretty goofy, but yeah, I thought it was funny. There's enough fun to be had in it. It's probably one of the better Lego games, in my opinion. There's a lot you can do for a game. Remember when they used to put effort into these sort of things? But here we go. We're presenting the next fucking screen from Retney's Holocron because he's retarded. Here we go. They took the expanded universe from us. Lucasfilm literally celebrating consistently publishing those stories under the Legends banner. No. All Lucasfilm did was make a new canon continuity. They did not murder your family. Then I responded with this. They relegated the EU to Legends when they could have easily kept it as an ongoing equal continuity alongside theirs, but they didn't, purposefully abandoning it, citing creative reasons, but as soon as they figured out that they had no creativity, they went and pillaged from it. And then obviously this person replies, but usually make these stolen ideas worse than their original Legends counterparts, which is true, but this guy's a clown. I don't know what's wrong with him. And then OG Star Wars replied, they took the expanded universe from us, meaning they, Disney Lucasfilm, tossed it, stopped making content, and gaslit fans about it. Now we know it isn't gone. Your tweet is disingenuous towards EU fans. There was a successful We Want Legends campaign with a billboard put up by Lucasfilm HQ to show an interest of continuing the EU twice. At the time, the label was being tolerated. As time went in, a lot began to not appreciate the labeling. Many suggest EU authors to purchase non-labeled original print books. Their horrible cover-wise, info printed within, getting author info wrong, taking out acknowledgements and short stories added from EU novels, replacing with Disney Star Wars faux lore. EU fans normally don't want a Disney Star Wars story in their original lore content. It's a bastardization, as she says, because that's the Legends label. That's what it is. To mock longtime fans for their stance in gaslighting shows how little you understand the EU fans and don't care. And then obviously she's saying that I hope it gets that same treatment. I do too. And then, yeah, pretty much I completely agree. And just, it's so, like, how do you have this take? It's fucking, oh, God. It's fucking, these people annoy me, like, God. Marvel Rivals is amazing. It certainly is. I always wonder why the Lego game didn't cover more of the show. Yeah, it only covered, like, the early stuff. I don't think they ended up, there's probably like reasons why. I think it was mostly just for the movie. I think it was just like a one-off thing. It was fine. It was a really weird, because it was like tying into the Lego Star Wars games. It was labeled Lego Star Wars 3 The Clone Wars, when I think you should have just named it Lego Star Wars The Clone Wars to differentiate, but obviously not. Truly a main of mine. We don't want, no one wants them, because like she said, there's a lot more to it than just the fucking banner. The banner sucks, but there's more to it, as she said. I want Red Skull to be added to Marvel's Hail Hydra. Yeah, truly peak. But yeah, these people are insane. And then obviously Darth Paul's here. I'm going to present this one. He knows about this one. Wild Caridia, or whatever the fuck his name is. The Legends banner gives this so much aura. And then he's like, Exhibit A of people being bad. Are you a retard? The Legends banner takes away all the meaning tales the Jedi had and throws it out the window. You are a fake fan. And then this is obviously a reply to one reason I try to get people to Star Wars Legends is that Legends desperately needs a better community. Well, the community wouldn't be as angry if Disney wasn't absolutely raping the continuity and abusing it like they do. Simple. It's their fucking fault, not ours. Of course, we're going to be fucking mad. What do you expect? We tolerated you for a little bit, and then you started shitting on us and destroying stuff, and we're like, well, fuck you then. Simple. If you don't like that community, then you can fuck off, because that's the point. Disney Stars has been fucking us over. They've been treating us like garbage. They've been treating everyone like fucking garbage, but specifically us, who we couldn't care less about their continuity. We just wanted more stuff in our EU continuity. That's all we cared about for the most part. They went ahead and did what they did. And then look at them. They just throw out stuff out the window, just fuck you over. It's disgusting. But it's like, why do you think they're like that? There's obviously a reason. It wasn't like that before, Yeah. Lethal March saying, fuck Disney. I agree. Fuck them, because this is the shit they did. But people are just like, oh, why are you so mad? It's like, oh, God. Then you have using the Legends term, proves you don't care about the Eastman universe. Nice photo op with that omnibus, though. Is it going to sit on your shelf for the rest of the time? And then Retini's Holocron remembers that he unblocked him long ago. Like, all this is just fucking hell. These people just don't get it, do they? Yeah. And something else, if they wanted to go ahead, do their own stuff, and then keep the EU as a separate continuity, the majority of EU fans would have been fine with that. They'd be like, no, this stuff I'm not going to care about or watch. But at least they're honoring this stuff and continuing it for the fans. They just threw it out. They don't want anything to do with it. It wasn't for, paying royalties, because there's a lot more to that conversation than what some people make out to be. It was purely ideological. They just wanted all that stuff gone. And you look now. Look, Yoda, barely any searches come up for him. Or instead, it's the stupid little Grogu creature, or whatever the fuck it's called. You look up Luke Skywalker, none of the Legends books come up. It's all their shit. It's all fucking garbage. You can see exactly what they're doing, and we gave you a fucking chance. And some people gave him more. I know people that would have been like, after Mando 2, they'd be like, we'll give you a chance here. And they proved that even with that goodwill that they obviously knew was there from a majority of people, myself was not included in that, but by a big portion of people, they threw all that goodwill away. What's the point of supporting them? What's the point of being kind to them when this is how they treat you? They disrespect you, they just throw everything in your face, and they laugh at you. It's fucking disgusting. They called me a bigot. Sean Levy's going to say Star Wars, guys, just give Disney another chance. They don't deserve any fucking chances. At this point, their last chance was literally just Mando Season 2. They decided, no, we'll just throw it in your face. Pretty much. For the average person anyway. I don't think they deserved one, but if they were going to have one, if they were going to get that chance to do something good, it was then, and they didn't do it. They threw it in your face. So why the fuck support them? They've done it so many times. It's like an abusive relationship. Albert Einstein once said doing the same thing over and over again, expect different results, is insanity. Disney execs funded by people that want to destroy lots of things, Plus, a majority of them come from similar cliques, and yeah, they're all in this to destroy things. It's always been like that for quite a while. Enjoy the cynical nihilism of me. Gaza. Exactly. Slew Far Cry 3, the definition of insanity. Now, obviously, we have Disney has funded those. 03 Gorilla. Guess what? I do that all the time, and it always yields similar results. It's like, oh God, but we can't talk about that. I'll leave that. We'll leave that comment there because I don't want to get kicked off YouTube. Let's share screen for John Gets Gaming, the peak gamer himself. Here's Jonathan Gets Gaming. Oh, shit. He's done. He finished. But yeah, his stream is up, and it keeps trying to go to my stream, which is not what I want. But yeah, he had a stream, and I couldn't do it, So yeah, sorry, John. I couldn't get your stream in time because you finished. You finished all over me. That sounds really gay. God. 7 out of 10 stream. But yeah, there's good John Gets. Go throw him a sub if you haven't. He's a wonderful fellow. And the same with Fractured Filter, and I'll probably link them at the end. Now, what else did I want to talk about? Yes. Presenting. This is what Darth Paws sent me, so I might as well react to it.
I hate comes from, I've been in the comic scene for a long time, and I think what he's doing is great. It's because you're not a bitter elitist. That's if I'm being frank, from an outsider looking in, I'm a bit of a normie when it comes to the comic book industry. I'll be very honest. My husband, he knows this stuff. So I have started to pick up.
So if that is true, then why didn't they hire your husband instead? Obviously, you have no clue what you're fucking doing. Oh, God. Diversity hire right here.
Some things based on what he's reading, because I can't buy comics. They're expensive, all right?
Socioeconomic reasons. Nah. So many socioeconomic reasons. I can't afford them.
But all the good thing about
you could just steal them, you can usually get away with that.
Me being the
your kind anyway.
Person for
Depends on where you live though.
Rippaverse is I only need to know about the Rippaverse. I don't need to know about what's going on in DC and Marvel and all these other things. I'll read them, but I don't need to know it like the back of my hand.
The thing is, if you're in a business, it is actually quite helpful to know about these other ones, see what they're doing, being smart with how you approach business things and all that. There's so much more that goes into a business than just, it's these people are stupid. Yeah. There's probably a comment I can make, but I'd get called racist for it, so I'm not going to make that, but let's have a look. Comic normie being the spokesperson for a comic company. Needed a black woman to check off the boxes. He does, Mr. Surge. They all do. Half-price books. In your opinion, I don't really know too much about him. I haven't read any of his shit. I don't care about his shit. I don't care about comics particularly much. He does suck. Look at the unopened Riververse comics to her rights. Omnibuses, one for Tales of Jello. That's good.
Let's see. How much is a comic book? I think it depends on the cover. I think certain covers are more expensive. I like that hoodie. Where'd you get that? I've always wanted one. Well, you can get a hoodie like this from Rippaverse.com. Just click on their merch button, or is it shop? I don't know.
She definitely gave Ripper that hug to her. Yeah, but yeah, this woman is.
Oh, and you can pick your.
She's playing up the black female stereotypes to like 1,000 here. It's like, oh God, the movements, the talking. Oh God.
Yourself up one of these bad boys, yeah.
Yeah, I want to put a pistol in my mouth.
10 out of 10 would recommend. Some variant covers are more expensive than others. Yes. Cover D is generally the cheapest cover. Gothic's being a grifter again. It does happen sometimes. It just comes out like grifter. But yeah, no, I think I said earlier in the stream, I know you weren't here, Mark, but I think a lot of the hate for Eric and the Rippaverse, honestly, it comes down to, I hate to say it, but jealousy, bitterness, because
you're just jealous of us. Oh God. Yes, the NG 13%er is going to be canon to the Rippaverse. That would be peak. I would buy a comic if they literally just had that as the name of a ship. Yes. Yeah, one of those.
As if you remove the fluff and ask, what's the point of all the hate mail and the hate videos and the harassment? Like, what's the point of any of that? You don't like what he writes? Okay. Message has been received. Can we move on? Or is there something else you're trying to prove? It has to be jealousy or it has to be lack of purpose. Maybe both. It might be both. Because from my perspective, if you have something to create. Let the market decide. Create. And if you can't create, I guess you can refurbish, which is what a lot of commenters do these days. They just refurbish.
Yeah, this is EVS makes far more money than Eric, but I guess he's jealous. Yeah, at this point, I just don't care about these indie comic people. I couldn't care less if they were to actually make good stuff, but none of them do, in my opinion. I've seen some people, I don't really care. I've seen like people look at them, some reviews that I don't know. They all just look garbage to me. There's just nothing in them that I think is worth looking at. There's just nothing, in my opinion. Cyberfrog is good, apparently. I'd have to have a look at that. Cyberfrog.
In essence,
Hates Italians and calls them wog.
just talk about other people. Grim, I think that.
Yeah, I don't really like Yellow Flash. Yellow Flash is like the most normie person ever. Like he's the most normie like YouTube person ever. It's so funny to me. It's like EVS is a real comic writer and artist. He knows how to make comics. Yeah, righto. I'll have to have a look then. I'll see what tisms he's doing. Yellow Flash plot. I don't know. Yellow Flash is just the most normie person ever. There's no take he has that's like incredibly based. There's nothing that's like incredibly terrible. He's just an NPC right wing person. That's it. That's all he is. Even then, he's not close enough to the area of the right wing that you need to be. Because if you drift off to the center, well, you're going to get absolutely bum touched by both sides. That's how that goes. You don't want that.
That's a question of subjectivity.
Centrism is fence sitting at its finest. It's like fence sitter. If you're a centrist, you're a fence sitter. You got to be on one specific side. That's just how it goes here. Because the time for when that would have been fine is past. We're at a point of no return when it comes to these sort of things and belief systems. So yeah, there's no use being a centrist or trying to talk to both sides, try and go fight for both sides or whatever. It's just politics is dead at this point. Politics is garbage. Politics is terrible. But there's I can't say too much about my politics without getting kicked off YouTube. So we'll continue.
Shit comics implies there's a standard for good comics. So who makes that standard for good comics? Is it the market or is it your own opinion? If it's the market, well, from my perspective, Rippaverse continues to grow. So the market has spoken. If it's your perspective, well, that's.
Do you think this is yeah, that fucking little. Yeah, I would agree. From what I've seen, it's just not good. It's kind of this weird like fight between like these people. It's just I couldn't care less about it, to be honest. This shit is not important to me. I couldn't give a fuck about this stuff, but like going over this kind of stuff, what she's saying is just stupid. And I'm assuming it's a lot more of the same. If there's any doubtfuls, if there's any like specific like point in the video that you think is worth me covering, then I'll go to have a look at that. But as far as I'm concerned, it's more of the same. I just don't care about these people. It's just like this weird kind of fighting. But if you were actually good at your thing and saying that you were good, oh, you literally only said watch 1 minute. Well, that thing can go then. But yeah, this is stupid. The market has not grown, it has actually gone down. Often it is with these tisms. If I gave all my takes unfiltered, I'd be banned off YouTube for hate speech. I would be too. Relatable. 03 Gorilla would be fucking executed for his takes. Same with me and Fraction Filter. We're going to the chair with these ones. But yeah, we cannot speak our minds sometimes, but that is okay. To be honest, even if you were the just most standard Trumper you'd get, you should research Eric more than you would care. You should research Eric more than you will care. Oh, okay. Yes, you would also be chaired. We are getting chaired with this one. What we got? Let's have a look. Yeah, I'm just looking at some quick Twitter posts. Yes, it is the question. It is the question. But yes, here we go. Here's another thing. I was trying to clip this, but there was one small problem. That was the fact that this is a YouTube. It's a part of the YouTube Kids, and so I can't actually clip it, which sucks. But this is what I was trying to clip, and I'll quickly show you it because I wanted a little reaction image for Echo-based network, and this is what I remembered this. So yeah, I remembered this little bit, and I thought it'd be slightly funny. But here you go. I'll present it. It's from an old Lego like mini movie. They were like they were kind of basically just ads, but they were like little short little things. They were pretty neat, but here we go. Just watch the end. There you go. That's the bit I wanted to clip, but I can't clip it because it's YouTube Kids, which sucks, but yeah, that's what happens. Why? I don't know. Ah, yes, wooden doors. Truly, truly useful. I remember. Yes. Which one? Wait, I'll go back. Hold on. Which one? Who are we giving who? Oh, I think who are we going? Who's getting the banjo? I think Nick can be him, and this can be Coach. Doesn't really matter. It's just you can throw it around. It doesn't really matter. Probably. Or he's just talentless and has nothing to offer to people. But yeah, Nick from Echo Base Network and a Coach or Chef, as some refer to him. He'd probably just come up with the most he's probably just like a standard Christian normie personism that's related to his sister or something. Nick is like, yeah, that's what I think anyway. But I'll get rid of that. That's just a classic fucking video that I thought was pretty funny. I vaguely remembered, and I was like, oh, that might work. But then, yeah. Coaches kids for a reason. All right, 03. He likes makeup. Who's Coach? The dude from Echo Base Network. Some guy from Echo Base Network. He's a bit of a clown. He tried to debate Darth Pauls and got pretty much folded. It was pretty embarrassing, to be honest, for him anyways. Yeah, it's just a clown. Yeah, there's... what else? Let's have a look. Apparently, I saw something from Script Trooper that I wanted to check out, and I ended up doing it, and then I replied with a comment. So I'll quickly find that. Where are you, Mr. Shield Trooper, as Darth Thors refers to him as? George Lucas, did he really love the EU? Let's have a look. Script Trooper is a Canadian. Well, yeah, I'm very racist to Canadians, as you know. All right, here we go.
Hey guys, Script Trooper here with another video, and I wanted to delve into the whole Mara Jade and Clone Palpatine and all that stuff from the EU, and some of the stuff George Lucas said about it. I know there are videos about this. This is going to be different. I've discovered a few things, looked into a few things.
Yes, it is AI because he can't be bothered to. Oh, he kind of likes to do these images that are relevant to the video, and the AI is pretty bad. This is bad. it's bad. It's it's not very good. Although I will say that the AI has done a great job at this certain area.
And I think we can come to a pretty reasonable conclusion. It doesn't mean that anything is valid or invalid just because George Lucas said so. Because ultimately we all are fans of what we're fans of. So, that's on the side burner. I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm just here to just look at the facts, look at what we can see. And I mean, let's face it, for most of us, the sequel trilogy is not in our canon. Most of what Disney's done is not in our canon. So, or if not all of it.
Oh, one thing that's interesting here is, you know how just look at what I don't understand about Disney and how retarded they are when it comes to the sequels. Just look at how do you have a trilogy that is, how do you like make it so that your mind says it's a good thing to keep a trilogy which isn't just inherently damaging to Star Wars, but the vast majority of people have stated they don't consider it as canon. That's not good. Prequels may have got some similar treatment, but for the most part, people were like, this wasn't good. But did that mean that every single person said, no, this is not canon? No. But with everyone, pretty much everyone, besides the shills, when it comes to Star Wars and, well, the sequel trilogy, they don't consider it canon. They don't consider it of value at all. It's just no one cares about it. It's garbage. They hate it. What's the point of keeping that? You could just get rid of it, but obviously they really want to ride and die with this shit. It's stupid. It's so weird to me.
So this isn't about creating some sort of big, fight with everybody.
But I do think it's probably ideological more than anything. The EU was never canon. Then what was Legends? It was the decanonization of non-canon. Exactly. There's that point as well. Like there's so much like obvious evidence and facts that actually say and uphold the fact that George did at least consider the EU as canon in the vast majority of it anyway, and like that it was of value to him. To say that it wasn't canon is just it's stupid.
Although it is a very interesting debate, and that's what I'm looking for is the debate. And I think it'd be fun to look into. So let's check this out. First of all, we'll start with this interview, and we'll go from there. And this is an interview with Lucy Autry Wilson, who was the director of publishing for Lucasfilm. So obviously all the EU books and stuff like that, she was essentially the director.
And actually, I will tell you another.
Oh, Dark Empire. Fuck me. God. Goes from sequel trilogy to Dark Empire. We're really not getting it. It goes from sequel trilogy to Dark Empire. Yeah, it's my favorite. I totally don't want to kill myself whenever I see it. Like, what the fuck?
Kind of anecdote. One of the first.
Why do this? Just no. There's no need for this.
Things I licensed was that Dark Horse, the Tom Beach and Cam Kennedy thing. But what Tom Beach, the story he wrote, we were just kind of letting people do what they wanted then. He wrote his story. I didn't ask George anything. We published it. Later, George would run into me and he'd say, Lucy, I would never clone the Emperor. He doesn't get cloned. And I'm like, how am I supposed to know that if you don't want to be involved in what we're doing? And yet, if I do something you don't like. So I started then having to send him memos. This person wants to do this, and this. Is this okay? Is that okay?
And I just thought it was really cool, really important, I should say, to look into this. And I don't know how much George was involved in the really, really old EU stuff, like Splinter of a Mind's Eye and stuff like that. But I do know that the average person, if you ask them, for the average person, the EU for them sort of starts with the stuff in the early 90s and the Heir to the Empire trilogy and all that type of stuff. And that
does that mean to be like
the EU.
I'm assuming this is a fan casting. I can see that's the. I remember her. I know who that is. Fuck it. I know who that is. I'm assuming that's a fan casted poster for the what was the first one? Heir to the Empire, I'm assuming. I think, yeah, because I know these two actors. But it's like
for them sort of starts with the stuff in the early 90s and the Heir to the Empire trilogy and all that type of stuff. And that stuff, she was the director of. Autry was the director and sending out
Heir to the Empire
stories to get them published and this and that and the other thing. And like she said, she was doing that without any permission from George, without even going through him about anything. So I suspect that everything in the EU up to that point, up to that discussion that George had with her after she published Dark Empire, maybe he just literally had no involvement with that stuff. And then after she did something he clearly was not a fan of and was not into, then he started getting more involved.
Oh,
Shopping
great.
online
No.
comes with digital threats. So turn on NordVPN.
Please don't touch me.
And-
also, that's so silly. Why the hell is the black man the innocent one in that situation? You would expect both of the criminals to be black, but that's just another one of my racist, silly jokes I make. God.
That raises some questions
Objectively,
because
in Minecraft.
the Dark Empire series was first published in 1991 and also in 1992. So 1991, and Mara Jade's first appearance is in Heir to the Empire, which was
I'm really not a big fan of this image. It's just like, oh, God. Just this. Just, just
also published
goofy.
in 1991. So a lot of whether or not George
What is this Mara Jade image? Just, God, this is terrible.
supported Mara Jade as a character, because we know he didn't support Palpatine being cloned. She says that very clearly.
I don't know if you watched the new movies, but in the most recent one, the Emperor was cloned. So
Yeah, George was like rolling his eyes.
he probably
He
was
would
not
be
happy at
furious,
all.
I think.
So a lot of the idea of whether or not he approved of Mara Jade kind of hinges on when George spoke to her. Now, she doesn't mention anything about Mara Jade. And what's interesting is that Dark Empire came out or was published in December of 1991.
Yeah, some really great AI. It's really awful.
Whereas Heir to the Empire, the first one, was published in May of 1991. So what does that mean? That means that he might have had an issue with Mary Jade, but maybe he just kind of left it and it was in the less egregious category compared to the Palpatine being cloned, and therefore didn't make a big issue out of it. But does that mean that he was in support of it? Because we have to remember, those books came out before he started getting involved. It was the cloning of Palpatine, according to Autry, that made him start getting involved and forced her to start sending the ideas that they were going to publish and stuff over to George and over to.
I don't know if this is like, I don't know the validity of these claims or whatever, or the validity of other claims, but I've heard things from people like OG Star Wars that he may have been involved earlier and all that kind of stuff. I have no clue about this. All this stuff is relatively new to me. I'm just on this side of the fact that the EU was considered at least canon to George and is part of the overall story. I don't know. There's just a lot of things, a lot of information, a lot of contradictory information. Like even the ones that the shills bring up, but they neglect to inform the EU about the other things George has said, the other various important comments he's made. So yeah, there's just a lot to dig through, but there's so many unintelligent people that just refer to it as non-canon. It was
Lucasfilm for approval. That was sort of the straw that broke the camel's back. But before that, he wasn't really paying much attention. So it's not as if he, quote, approved formally of Mara Jade. If Heir to the Empire had come out after Dark Empire, when she started sending stuff to him, then you could say, oh, well, definitely it was approved. It had to be. Everything after that went through him. It went through at least some of his people. So currently in this video, we are not at a point where we can definitively say that he was pro Mara Jade. In fact, we don't know what he is, but we do have some other things we can look into to see what he thinks about the whole situation. And just a quick side note, the idea that the people at Lucasfilm, like J.J. Abrams and all these people, didn't know that George didn't want Palpatine cloned, and yet
See you, Mike Cassius. The EU started basically before the film before A New Hope released with I think it was the novelization of A New Hope or something. There was something they released then. That's basically when it started. But the real consensus on when the EU kind of like when the EU started for most people is usually where they say is Heir to the Empire. But there's a lot of people that say before that, and that's completely fine. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff. It's that's not a question you should be asking me. You know, that's definitely not where you should. Not a question I'm going to answer with like the best intelligence. You might as well ask someone else on that. I'd love to answer it truthfully and honestly, but I just don't know the complete information on that. And I just can't be fucked to look it up because I don't want to get it incorrect.
They
And
did
then spread misinformation on the internet because misinformation is bad.
it anyway. It just goes to show, right? Like they weren't interested in what George wanted at all, despite the fact that Bob Iger said they would. The guy got hoodwinked. And from what I'm seeing from some of the stuff that George talked about, he wasn't big on the whole cloning thing in general. This was an interview with Timothy Zahn, which took place, how long ago was this? This is put out in 2000. And he talks about a whole slew of things. There's a few things from this interview we'll also discuss, but he says Jorith Saboath was originally an insane clone of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and they wouldn't let him do that. But then at the same time, in the end, Joris Kaboa was a clone himself. So it was kind of a weird dynamic. And then at the same time, that also brings up the question that if George wasn't involved, who said he couldn't do a clone of Obi-Wan? Because this, again, happens before the release of Dark Empire. So it's a very strange, weird dynamic. This is what I gather between what Tim Zahn is saying and what Lucy was saying.
See ya, boys. You got to bounce. Always good to hear you talk.
Is that I think what happened here is I think Timothy Zahn was in touch with people at Lucasfilm because he doesn't specifically say George Lucas. He just says they. So I think he was in touch with Autry, potentially, and other people at Lucasfilm or other people representing Lucasfilm, and they told him not to do that. Whereas with the Clone Emperor, that was a direct, why did you do that from George Lucas? And bear in mind, that book still got released. So somebody at Lucasfilm was okay, I guess, with Emperor Palpatine being cloned. And it does look like a lot of this stuff was happening without George's knowledge, which makes me wonder if Mara Jade also happened originally without George's knowledge because it came out earlier. Heir to the Empire came out earlier than Dark Empire. Do you see how it all kind of makes sense? So then Timothy Zahn is asked, did you expect Luke and Mara to get married? He says, yes, I always intended that they would. Okay. Then he says, they came back at the end of 93. They, right? These are the publishers. They came back at the end of 93 and asked me to do one more book to sort of bookend the Bantam series. I thought about it for a while and came up with two things I needed to do if I was to do the book. One was to end the war between the New Republic and the Empire, and two, to get Luke and Mara together. If we're going to do some kind of closure on the Bantam series, those two events needed to be done. And at first, he doesn't say George, they were unwilling to have Luke and Mara married, engaged, whatever. They wanted it left ambiguous. And I said those were two things I feel are needed for closure. And if it wasn't agreeable, someone else could do the book. That's fine. And it was one book originally. So Timothy Zahn was prepared to die on this hill. That the New Republic and the Empire were going to be done, which is good. And that Luke and Mara were going to be married, which I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not a huge fan, to be honest. But whatever. Of Luke being married to anybody, but whatever.
All right, yeah, let's pause that. Thrawn looked like Elon Musk in the Ahsoka show. Yeah, it's the actor couldn't even be bothered to lose some fucking weight. It looked horrible. Oh god, what a misrepresentation of the character. That's actually pretty good from what I've seen of the novels, what I remember of them.
Whatever. But he was willing to die on that hill and say, "Fine, I'm not doing it then." And then he says they came back and agreed to let me do that. Which all of this points to the idea that George was not involved with this. These are other representatives, other people. And again, his involvement came later at the end of 1991 into 1992 after they cloned Palpatine. Okay, so the next on the timeline is...
I think this would be a very good video for someone like United Space Alliance or OG Star Wars to react to, because I believe they have more information on how this kind of went down and all that. And if they have other information that they'd like to share or whatever, that'd be interesting. I think that would be probably the best way. So I'll probably tell them about this, or like shoot them a message or whatever, or drop it in Purist Discord or whatever, and we'll see. Because I have no clue whether this information is correct or not, or there's things that this guy missed or whatever. It's just,
is this quote from George Lucas and what he has to say about the cloning of Palpatine, Luke, all that stuff. And this was kind of the inspiration for this video. That's when I really wanted to really delve into the dates and people involved and interviews and all that stuff. It's called George Lucas Was Terrible at Predicting the Future of Star Wars. Turns out George Lucas really did think that the final installment to the Star Wars tale was Return of the Jedi. An interview with the iconic filmmaker from May 2008 has revealed that George Lucas didn't have any plans to make episodes 7 to 9, which probably explains why J.J. Abrams was hired to add to the franchise. And this is another one of those ones where George kind of goes back and forth, because he didn't want to make it, but he did want to make it, but he didn't want to make it, but then he sold it to Disney and gave them his treatments, hoping they'd make it in the way he wanted. So he was very indecisive, and that's why I think there's always a lot of discussion about the whole EU issue and how much of it he was really that interested in. And I think it's like everything. I think he was interested in some stuff and not interested in other stuff. And in these two particular cases, we've already established he did not want Palpatine being cloned. And I also think he did not want Luke marrying Mara Jade. George Lucas made these remarks during an interview with Total Film over 5 years ago. December 4th, 2014. Okay, so yeah, whatever. 2008. And now that the first trailer for Star Wars The Force Awakens has got everyone heated up about the franchise once again, his contradictory statement has started to make the rounds on social media. After being asked, "Are you happy for new Star Wars tales to be told after you're gone?" George Lucas was pretty adamant that there wouldn't be any further adventures set in a galaxy far, far away. Again, this is 5 years before Force Awakens. More than 5 years before Force Awakens. "I've left pretty explicit instructions for there not to be any more features. There will definitely be no episodes 7 through 9. That's..."
I'm assuming what he's referring to that is, I'm assuming because he's basically, what I think what's going on here is, like so many have said, and there's interviews where at the end where he goes, what was the thing? There was one that a few of these, the people in the Gatekeepers Alliance have been sharing, where he's kind of saying it's the rest of the stories continued in the books, the novels, all that kind of stuff. Like, I feel like that's kind of what he's trying to get at here. Like, it's not, he just wouldn't make the movies themselves. He's like, it's all there and all these other things. And I think that's probably what this is referring to.
It's because there isn't any story. There isn't any story. Meanwhile, the Star Wars archives say there kind of was a story. So he's saying that other people are...
Yeah, that's the one thing with George. He's very inconsistent on certain things, but I think there's enough evidence to say that he at least considered the EU to be canon or of canonicity to his stuff, and he would go out of his way to include things in there that came from that source, the EU. So it's a very interesting topic to talk about. It's something that I find quite interesting, because it's like an interesting little thing. You're just looking around, seeing different information. It's quite the interesting tisms. Ah, yes, Zahn the sellout. I remember all that stuff. God. Zahn. Couldn't you just not work for them?
Writing down in books that no, there was some stuff with it. The Star Wars story is really okay, let me just stop there. He also, in an interview, though, says to JJ,
what happened to Darth Vader's grandchildren?
Oh, George. This is great. You tell me, man. You made all this shit up.
So that aspect of the EU he clearly liked. He liked the issue of, or the aspect of, Vader's grandchildren. Certainly at least Han and Leia's kids, but maybe not Luke having kids. The story of Star Wars is really...
Yeah, I think there's probably a lot to say about that. 2003 Clone Wars had connections to the EU, of course, George. Yeah, I'd agree there too. Jar Jar Abrams. I call him by a more derogatory name, but I can't say that on YouTube. Yeah. Yes. What's interesting is that both Clone Wars they're both pretty explicit in terms of different things they do. It's very odd because obviously one's contradictory to the other. There's so much to say. There's so much to do in this kind of discussion. There's so much to say. There's so much to look at. So much to analyze. Very interesting conversationisms.
The tragedy of Darth Vader. That is the story. Once Vader dies, he doesn't come back to life. The Emperor doesn't get cloned, and Luke doesn't get married. Sounds pretty adamant to me.
Yeah, there's this as well. Like, there's a lot of stuff. Like, in my mind, the Emperor did not get cloned. That's just bullshit. I can't stand Dark Empire. I think it's garbage. As far as Luke getting married, I don't either hate it or like it. There are certainly different ways you go about it. It doesn't really bother me which way you go. It doesn't really matter. There's so you can still do stuff with that story. It's not something that's like a deal breaker for me because I quite like Mara Jade, but it doesn't really matter, that whole thing. If George really didn't want it, I couldn't care less. If he didn't, or if it was indifferent, or he just changed his opinion, well, that's just George. He flip-flops sometimes. That's just how he goes.
Me, because again, he's lumping in the Luke getting married with the cloned Emperor, which we know right off the bat when that book was released, he was not happy about. Now he's lumping them together at this point in 2008.
As the creator of Mara Jade,
Wait! I am not the creator of Mara Jade, and I want you to get out of this
This is a Robot Chicken sketch kind of thing. It was a joke.
office right now. No way.
That's because
This office right now.
I'm sorry, Zeb.
No way.
You brought
No
it on
way.
You brought it on yourself.
I don't want you here.
So if you watch that clip, you notice those flashes. That's because this is not an organic thing, if you haven't noticed.
I'm so
Out.
sorry, George. I didn't think it would go like this.
Out.
Ted, I got your voucher.
Out!
I still love this clip.
There.
I love how it's like this slow, crappy door, too. It wasn't even like a door slam. It was this slow push-button door on George's fancy office.
I'm sorry about that. I'm so sorry. We'll have him like burned and
I don't even know who that guy is.
So I'll show you the context here. This next clip shows you the context of what they were actually doing. It's pretty obvious.
Have you been hiding back there? Have you been back there behind the board this whole
This guy's a
time?
bothin.
I'd like to reach you to have everyone act really awkward.
Okay.
And and then just get.
I think just filming you talking about how you want your ratio to go.
What, have you become the director all of a sudden?
Yeah, I'd like.
Yeah, so they set up a skit. They knew that George was not a big fan of Mara Jade, or at least what was done with the character. So they set up a thing and made a joke about it. But the fact that they made a joke about it means it is something, right? That you don't just make up this joke that really doesn't impact George or doesn't matter to him. It's because there is that background of him not being the biggest fan of Mara Jade.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that. I'd agree with that statement. I think that's, if you were to just use common sense and thinking, that's probably true.
That's my take. I think it's pretty obvious.
Zeb, if you're going to direct this thing, you need to
my-
add a megaphone
Okay,
and some
what's your
writing.
vision?
Let's
My
go.
vision is it's awkward. I ask my questions. We get a response
Canadian uses logic for the first time.
shot of George just staring at me, like saying, "I have no idea who you are."
Okay.
And then I say, "Well, then, as the creator of Mara Jade,
This is going to be.
I have no idea who you are.
well, exactly.
I don't even know how you got
I'm not
it.
asking for much."
See, there you go, right? It's pretty obvious. It was all set up, but it's all based on a certain degree of truth, right?
And you
Well,
are
I know.
funny.
Whenever I tell people that
Yeah.
you're funny, they're like, "He's funny," and I'm like,
Yeah,
"He
no,
is."
I don't let people know about that.
I know.
Yeah.
But it's hard to not know that I'm funny if you've seen the movies. But most people don't even understand the humor because it's funny to me, but it's not funny to anybody else.
So I think what we can conclude
That's the most George thing I've ever heard. Personally, I did not like. Yeah, I hate it. It's garbage.
here is that on the one hand, there were things from the EU that he liked clearly, and there were other things that he didn't like, and that he was pretty loose in terms of his involvement. He had other people, otherwise he's allowing other people, but it's that doesn't necessarily mean he didn't. But you do have to wonder, children, and to hear what your thoughts are on this.
Yeah, well, there's that video done. I thought that was just interesting thing, and there's a lot to discuss and dissect with that whole thing. But yeah, I think that'll do it for today's stream. We're going for an hour and 5 minutes. So yeah, thank you all, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. I would like to thank everyone in chat for having a go, having a look around here. You know, bouncing on and off. You know, but yeah, it's always good to see all of you. It's been great, and I will do Tism thingos soon. Probably, I'll probably stream again for other things. There's some interesting things I've also seen. So yeah, I'll probably get to them on another stream. But yeah, thank you for tuning in, and it's time for me to fuck off. See you all.